Speaker, it appears that the bipartisan good feeling of the last few weeks are gone. After reaching across the aisle to pass important legislation like the doc fix, my Republican colleagues are back at their old tricks of handing out tax breaks to the few at the expense of the many. Today's vote to repeal the estate tax is just the Republicans' last attempt to tilt the U.S. tax code in favor of the ultra-wealthy campaign donors. This week's target is the estate tax, a tax I would mention that was dreamed up by and championed by Teddy Roosevelt, the same guy the Republicans like to hold up as one of the greatest the party ever produced. Their crusade to help the rich has gone too far. This proposed repeal of the estate tax is nothing more than a massive, unfunded tax break for a small sliver of the Americans' wealthiest families. And as is usually the case with Republican tax policies, this repeal would do nothing to help hard-working middle-class families. In Nebraska, 52 households would benefit, while there are 202,000 people living in poverty. The fact of the matter is the estate tax is only paid for by about 5,400 families, the top 0.2% of estates in the country. Estates worth less than $5.4 million pay nothing. And what is the cost of providing a tax break to the top 5,000 families? $250 billion, $269 billion. Now, these are the deficit hawks that were talking last week about we got to worry about the deficit. And they are standing here with a straight face, putting $269 billion more on the deficit. Instead, we should be using the money to extend the child tax credit or the earned income tax credit, tax credits that would actually help Main Street America, the real drivers of the American economy. Or we could fund universal pre-K, or build new bridges and roads, or provide free community college to 9 million people. Now, my colleagues on the other side of the aisle will try and tell you the estate tax hurts family farmers. And my colleague who began this debate is talking about that, Mr. Speaker. They tell you the estate tax forces farmers to liquidate in order to pay the estate tax. Well, pressed to provide examples, as we did, family farms being forced to liquidate, my Republican colleagues pointed to a 15,000-acre farm they say had to be broken up for the estate tax. Let me put that into context. Most people who live in the cities don't know how big that is. That's 15,000 acres is the equivalent of 23.5 square miles. That's a 5-by-5 square mile farm. That's more than the island of Manhattan. Manhattan isn't that big. And which is a home to 1.6 million people. Now, I think most of the people who work hard are pressed to believe that 23 square miles is a farm. As a farm at the very top of the income scale experienced unprecedented wealth and prosperity, some may call it the second Gilded Age, Republicans are helping the rich get richer. They want to talk about we're going to help the middle class and we're going to do well. And what are they doing? Shoveling $250 billion out the door to the richest. Repealing the estate tax will surely sow the seeds of a permanent aristocracy in this country. We learned from Britain what a permanent aristocracy gets you. And so we are prepared to take this vote. I would ask my colleagues, whose side are you on? Are you on the side of working families in communities across this country who are struggling to pay the bills? Or are you on the side of the ultra-wealthy heirs who don't feel they need to pay taxes on the millions and billions that they were handed by their ancestors? Wealth that has never been taxed. That land, the accumulation of a wealth in it, has never been taxed. Now, I vote for the working middle class, and I hope that you will all vote no. I reserve the balance of my time.